Magu Journal. What is this, number 3? I skipped a couple days yesterday. I had agreed to hang out with someone that I really don't vibe with anymore. So, I was like, well, I have to eat, so I guess we'll just do a dinner. He had asked if I would just go there to play chess, but I'm not here to just distract myself with games. Like I used to do that a lot. I used to distract myself from miserable life by playing games and sports, games on my phone. Although I wasn't that much of a phone gamer, but at times I download whatever games once every few months to play. But mostly it was like football, basketball. I spent so much time. But yeah, it's he's in that mode. Like he has all these games at his house. I'm like, it's great, but I'm not in gaming mode. It's strange that he doesn't play video games. He must be. I thought he was only like 4 of me, but he must be like 8, 9, 10 years older. Never asked him. I want to ask why he never played video games. Such a gamer. He wants to have someone to hang out with, but if it's not a game, but if it's not, if I'm not working on it, I don't want to play it, I guess. Working on it for something in my life prominently. Or rather, more so, I'm focused on, I guess, food and meditation. So at the end of the day, I don't have time. I like basketball, I like football, I like games and sports, but it's not something I want to do right now, and I don't want to do 10 other sports at the same time either. So I'm like, if you want to do these things, eating and talking freely, that's the biggest problem. Like when I was with him, I was like, I've got to keep silent. It's like I'm imprisoned, like to not cause conflicts because he's living in a world where he doesn't want to talk about things. So for me, it's like you're controlling what I talk about. Yeah, so I think I have to pretty much put that friendship aside, and we're just on completely different lengths and spiritual journeys, I guess. Yeah, I came here to meditate. There was something I wanted to talk about. Religion's been on my mind a lot, and while I try to remember what I originally came to talk about, just go ahead and purge that, not purge, but get it out there. I find that I'm holding my thoughts in my head. I think these thoughts and I'm stuck thinking them until I get it out. So here I'm getting it out. And then the problem is who am I getting that out to? It goes into a black hole. There's no one here that follows me. I have like 3 followers, and they're not going to sit and listen through all of this. So then I'm starting to think, okay, I need to get it out in a way that people are going to actually stumble upon it or whatever, or see it in each other's stories. I hate having to think like that, because then you become self-conscious about what you're saying. Like for instance, I'm living pretty isolated, or I'm learning how to free myself from depending on other people for companionship, to use other people to stave off feelings of loneliness. Like the whole idea we need to have friendships and companions, or else it's like even bad for your health, mentally, physically, whatever. So people are like, we need to have companions, or else you'll, I guess, get cancer in 10 years is the logic they say. People who are married, I guess, get cancer than single people. Well, I don't know. Or even, I guess, along those lines, people who have sex regularly have less another way to say it, people who are in a relationship have less disease, but people who are sexologists will say it's the sex, or not having sex, are getting diseases, get cancer or something from lack of companionship, and sex, if viewed as a healing, a type of healing massage. There are people that think sex is a tool for healing of stress, anxiety, self-hate, right? I mean, what is basically worshiping another person's body, and you're pleasuring yourself by massaging and worshiping another person's body. So perhaps within that framework, sex is like a spiritual and physical massage. And so, oh yeah, this is, okay, now I found what I wanted to talk about. So there's a woman, I don't know, she has maybe 100,000 followers on Instagram, and she lives on land far away from any town or city, and is close to nature. Of course, she's doesn't have any companions out there, and she doesn't have a relationship either. And just on her Instagram, like dozens of posts, she's basically promoting her lifestyle, like breaking down the idea that a woman needs a man, marriage, and a family to be happy. And she's just, no, I'm alone and I'm at peace. I'm with nature. Da, da, da. She has like dozens of clips all about that, pretty much. And I'm kind of living that life as well, or figuring that out how to be by myself as well. And it's not easy. There's a lot of times where I'm like, I wish I had someone to do this with. Whether it's cooking really amazing food and be like, wow, this is amazing. I want someone else to try what I'm eating. I want other people to taste what I'm tasting. So I miss cooking food for other people and eating that good food with other people, sharing that, you know, creation. It's like making art. You want to, if it's really good, you want it to be shared so that you enjoy it and other people. But anyways, why I came here was like, it's like the honest question, like, I'm definitely more at peace alone. I'm definitely able to focus on myself. Like, out of college and stuff, obviously didn't have my own home, wasn't making enough money to live in an apartment by myself. I had to get apartments that were shared with other roommates. So like finding people on Craigslist even, and then you like go and interview and say I work here and here, and yeah, I'm clean, da, da, da. And had a few roommates like that. Some of them were really nice, some of them were really shitty, but it's, over a decade like that, you really forget how to both enjoy being alone and also how to be free to be yourself, because always else you're living with, you have to put on clothes, you have to not talk out loud to yourself, or else you'll be a disturbance to the other person. You have to constantly be not your true self, right? Because you always have to modulate yourself on who's around you. But when you're living alone or by yourself, or being by yourself all the time, you learn to really not give a fuck and become more authentic in yourself. And Amanda's sister called me, "Oh, you're looking like more of a man." And I was like, "Why?" Because I let my hair and mustache and beard just grow because I'm all by myself anyways. She's like, "No, it's not that. I guess it's an other aura, and I guess it's because, yeah, I've becoming more authentic self and less modulated by others, right? I'm not people pleasing. I'm not having a lukewarm version of myself anymore. I'm not using a percentage of my conscious and subconscious, being self-aware and being self-judgmental and critical in order to not disturb others around me, right? Because everyone's deeply in that prison, the prison of other people's opinions. People want to be respected and feel like you're not ostracized. And so people are in that prison of people pleasing. And a lifetime in that world, it takes a lot of a lot of nature's medicine to undo all of that, because layers and layers and layers. And so there are people who would look at how much ayahuasca and psilocybin and THCA I've taken the last 5-6 years and be like, all that and you still have to keep taking it? Doesn't sound like it's helping, bro. And it's like, because you don't realize how deep the system has buried you under layers and layers and layers of manipulation, propaganda, indoctrination, and brainwashing. Like you think it's just one layer or two or three. It's hundreds of layers. And so when you take nature's medicines and you have reintegration with your true authentic soul, yeah, each layer comes off, but there's so many more layers, like lifetimes of layers. And well, you know, the Buddhas in the temples of Asia, they didn't do any of this. They just meditated. Yeah. And they're happy to meditate their entire lives. And meditate across several lives. Because, you know, it's the year BC and the world has 50 million people in it. And there's thousands of years available to reincarnate and meditate and peel back all the layers. But here we are with 8 billion people. The earth is at the brink of complete food desert, forest burning, nuclear warfare. We don't have lifetimes left. So we have to take, they call it shortcuts, with a negative connotation, as if taking these shortcuts will cause us to miss something or to lack in something. But to believe in that so much that you completely discount all shortcuts, like, you do not understand Taoism. There's always a good side, a light side, and a dark side to everything. So shortcuts aren't all bad. There's good shorts and there's bad shortcuts. So yeah, I asked this woman, like, what about horniness? Do you get horny alone? In her comments. And I typed it knowing it, because my autistic ass, I go ahead and ask these questions. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are feminists and just, they've been traumatized by sex. They've they've been traumatized by the sexual market that we live in, created by the 3,000-year-old merchants that enslave us all. So, because I'm bringing sexuality into a conversation, I'm the bad guy, especially since I'm a man bringing up that question. They act it as if like I'm trying to make others with that question. But no, I'm simply asking autistically, freely, as a free human being who's allowed to ask questions. I'm asking, and she's still a premenopausal woman. How do you handle sex and the lack of it when you're all alone? And it's a question for all religions that never really answered the question for me good enough. Right, they all have this idea of celibacy is righteousness and purity, and sexual desires are sinful, evil, low vibration. What would you call it? That biblical word Christians use. Sexuality is profane, and this is a normal question that doesn't involve sexuality, and you are bringing an obscene, profane topic. You're trying to taint and sully and pervert this conversation, and then they start calling me perverted, obsessed with this style. But again, it's a valid question. Instead, it's always a battle with people. People don't know how to just stop judging people asking questions and conversations. Conversations involve questions and answers without getting offended. I have to do these in my room because it's so windy outside. I would not be able to hear. But the problem is, I want the microphone to be able to hear me. Hello, gays. Hello. Weird. So yeah, I'm still not completely fully escaped from public opinion. I still think about, like out of habit, I think about still have shame to be naked in front of people, obviously. I still think about people making fun of me or judging me, and even creating lies and wrongful opinions about me. Like, it's so easy for people in power to claim someone else thinks this, and then to make the entire world think that person thinks XZ. Like, you take anyone from like Michael, his career and was pretty much ended. Yeah, who decided he liked kids too much, and then started to try to say he liked kids for profit, pedophilia, and they're in power, so they own all the media, and they even have enough money to make families lie and say that their child was touched. And right, families are desperate for money, so could easily find 1,000 families that would easily accept a few $1,000,000 to say anything. And so that's how they can destroy whoever they want. Because everyone has done something they're not proud of in the past as well. And those can be focused on and then embellished. And just straight up lies can be invented. And the Bible says Jesus was crucified by the Romans and the J people. We're not allowed to say who the J people are anymore because they're at war with the entire world. But Jesus was crucified by the government and the J people. And it's like, you think they only crucified him? You think they didn't also make up lies about him? Lies about what he thought, lies about what he may have said, lies about what he did. Like, the Bible itself is probably 90%. And at the time, writing was still kind of new. Like the writing of books, creation of language, and creation of writing and reading, so that generations later would be able to be influenced, right? At that time when the Bible, the Torah, whatever, was written, that was pretty new. The time Jesus came around, It had been around a few years, and Jesus was basically saying, look, this technology, you all are manipulated by scriptures, by books that were written, whatever, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And now basically programmed robots to this book instead of real spiritual beings. And I always wondered at that time, did Jesus know they would write lies about him to control generations, thousands of years after it, whether he was crucified or not? Didn't he know that everything he said would be written over and stories would become propaganda to do the opposite of what Jesus wanted for the world that he lived in? Like all these other scholars can write books. Why couldn't he write his own book? Why did he rely on other people to write what he said? Why couldn't he just write himself? From the words of myself. Well, he was a carpenter. He wasn't a writer. People will say. Well, everything you worked on as a carpenter, building chairs and tables, or homes, or chariots, whatever you're building, where is it? It didn't last. Why did you spend time working with wood, being a carpenter? You should have spent all that time writing the true thoughts and ideas and quotes of myself, right? No one wants to let me ask that question to them. They just start saying, "Oh, you're satanic. Heresy. This is heresy. You've been taken over by Satan and demons." They don't want to answer the questions. They are afraid. They are afraid of going to hell. And they have also been taught their entire lifetimes that their God is the most supreme. And anything creating doubt is a threat to their supremacy. So they're afraid of going to hell in the afterlife, and they're afraid of damaging their tribe, their religious tribe, and the power and privilege their religious tribe has spent the last couple thousand years spilling a lot of blood and missionary trips, getting on boats all around the world to spread the privilege that their tribe gets. Nationalists, they call them nowadays. crusader type of mentality. Crusaders to evangelize their version of God, and by extension to promote their tribal religion by making it the most economically successful and militarily successful. So they can't do any real their religion says they should be able to do by the grace of God. So instead they use as evidence that they are the real God by throwing money in people's faces, by starving people, by making it so that other people, other religions are not able to feed themselves. And then they bomb them, drive tanks over their homes, and snipe them with sniper rifles attached. And then they say, look, this is evidence how we won economically and militarily. God is surely on our side. That's how we're seeing the world today. And that's the only way they can prove that they're real. The idea of winning. And it's always been a bullshit thing to me. Not always, but like realizing when people over and over and over thank God for scoring the winning touchdown or knocking down the half court game shot. I see these athletes. This proves God is real. This proves God is real. Like God doesn't want the other team that you defeated to win as well, or God could do a million and being saving babies from being torched and fires and having their limbs blown off. He could do any of those miracles, but no, he decides to give, a 6'8" dude, a 3-point buzzer beater. That's the miracle God chooses to do, huh? Could end, poverty. Could end war. Any of those things, but no, he's helping dudes nail amazing 3-point buzzers. And same thing goes for like celebrities winning the Academy Awards, their acceptance speeches. I want to thank God. Only God makes this possible. Blah, blah, blah. All that really is we should highlight the 6'9" basketball player hitting the 3-pointer. He's been bred by the same people that own that entire basketball team, by the ancestors, by the parents of the owner of the Patriots. So they bred humans over the last 500 years to be amazing at a sport, so amazing that it looks like a miracle. They bred the African slaves to be able to dunk. And then they, 500. They create a sport that shows off the humans that they bred, and then these humans are thanking God for it. And yeah, from the point of view of LeBron James, he doesn't think about how his ancestors have been bred to be strong and fast. He doesn't that. He just thinks, oh, God blessed me with these skills. But yeah. Yeah, what else have I been thinking about? I'd like someone to actually engage me in conversations, like why it's so hard to connect with people. Um, yeah, I do find the more I become myself, the less in common I have with other people. So if this keeps progressing, I'll become 100% authentic to myself. And in doing so, I'll be 100% incompatible with other people. But yeah, another reason why I'm doing this is because I know they're going to try to make up lies about me or exaggerate things or minimize other things, manipulate my words and thoughts. And so I want to spread it out there. That's the only reason I make this public. More so I'm talking to myself, but also it would be good to have at least left a crumb trail out there of what I really thought, as much as I can express it. That's the other issue, is I can't express what I really think because the words themselves are invented by the slave masters who don't like for us to think for ourselves, right? They've made us rely on words that are limited and words that are altered to mean what they want it to mean. So when you say something, and it's not just even the words that are demonic, that are stealing truth from us, it's the attitudes that are see, I can't even think of a word that I want. We need a word that expresses when people who are the oppressors, the slave masters, they brainwash people. Like, I don't like the word brainwashing because washing sounds cleaning. It's like we should be brainwashing people, but they've stolen that word and made it connotation. But there is no true negative connotation word that has both a word that sounds like it means what it means and means that. So I'm going to create a word similar to brainwashing, when the oppressive slave masters mold and manipulate, control, and break apart our ability to think ourselves, and instead we think how they want us to think. So when the oppressors, slave masters, forces the oppressed to think like how they want their oppressed people to think. What's a word that would... It's brain... drugging. It's drugging us. They're drugging us to think how they think. They're drugging our brains to think how they want us to think. Or they are poisoning. Yeah. Just say poisoning our brains. Brainwashing, brain poisoning. Okay, go on with that. So I've created my new word. Brick by brick, new words to be able to express myself so that they cannot come back in the future and say my words, because they use words and then they change the meaning of them. They move the goals. So instead of, we're not murdering babies, we're moving human shields. We're disarming human shields. So they trade baby human shields. Anyhow, but yeah, yes, dinner really cemented like that. I really don't have to try to make friendships with people that don't understand me. Like, it's literally wasting time for me to talk to people who don't want to listen and understand. There are people that are just like, if I ask myself why, like, I haven't very much been putting much effort in maintaining friendship with these people the last few months. It wasn't like I don't hold much malice. It's just I just cringe at the thought of spending time playing board games or pool, checkers, just darts, all that. Just the idea of spending time doing that and not evolving. Um, yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. And here's another thing: it's everybody knows when parents have kids in the U.S. at least, they pretty much, it means they won't be hanging out with any of the other friends that don't have kids. And yeah, that's why parents usually make friends with other parents, because it doesn't usually work. Parents to have friends with people that don't have kids. And that's only true half the time. Or it's only true that parents like my sister like center their entire lives prioritize kids. Like my sister, I think, over prioritizes her kids. Even to the point of prioritizing their wants, what they want, or what is right, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. My first story about my sister, when they came down to visit me, it was like trying to set the dates was such a nightmare, because she was like, school starts this date, and I was like, okay, so you can fly back a couple of days before school starts. Like, it's not like they have homework to turn in. Like, there's really nothing to prepare on the first day of school. Like, they're in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. So much like preparation. And it's because parents are new at this. It's only the 5th or 6th first day of school, or 9th grade, whatever. But by the time you get to like 12th grade, freshman in college, some people 10th grade, some people 9th grade, 8th grade, but slow learners, they eventually come around to their 12th grade or freshman year of college, where you're like, the first day is like, you can literally like skip it. Like, you'll get a syllabus. The teacher talks about, what do you expect? She tries to establish, you know, his expectations. But it's really, you could really like fall asleep. And you'll say how you can succeed in this, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, listen, life is not spending a week to prepare for something that's not graded. Right? The first day of class is not graded. Blah, 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 blah. But it's just like, no, we have to be back a week before to prepare. I'm like, it's a little much to baby kids that way. Like, human beings travel the world all the time on intercontinental plane, where you're going to be jet lagged, and you show up to a different city, and you have to meet with clients and do presentations and talk to the press and do important stuff, and they don't fly a week ahead and say, yeah, I need to prepare from the jet lag and whatnot. You deal with it. Sometimes you have to go without sleep some nights. And so it's the question of sleep is what my sister is worried about, my niece and nephew. They need a week to get enough rest and sleep. And parents are obsessed with that idea of sleep, and it's extreme. And it was from hanging out with some parents here at this beach town. It was the first time seeing equals not of that. Before, everything in America or whatever is so bedtime. Kids need this bedtime. People have to go to bed. The kids have to sleep at this time, or else they'll wake up the next day. It won't. It'll just be. It can't be done. It can't be done. They have to go to sleep. And so, my sister's like that. And then, there's a woman here, single mom because the father unfortunately passed away. So she's raising her kid, and she would like bring him out to like the club, and she loved to dance. And so like here at Parakuru's dancing and music all the time. And I would get dragged to these things every once in a while. It's miserable for me. And I'm like sitting at the table, they're all dancing, and I'm looking across at this lady's kid. I'm just like, yeah, I know. I'm usually hanging out with the kid because, like, why is the kid even here? It's weird, interesting. Like the kid wants to go to sleep. Really, he's at, you know, I want to leave. The kid wants to leave. But yeah, she would always just bring him along. It's her kid. She's not going to be cooped up in the house because of a bedtime. And kids are resilient. He'll sleep in the next day, or he'll make it up in various nap times, whatever. But she clearly had zero willingness to enforce a bedtime to this kid that she brought everywhere. And I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. I look at these kittens living in my house right now. They don't have a bedtime. And I'm pretty sure nature in any of the indigenous tribes, in any of the people living in tune with nature, people with the best mental health, I'm sure they're not bedtimes for their kids and then rearranging their entire life for the fact that you now have a kid and you now have to enforce bedtimes. And yeah, I bring that up originally because so this guy has been asking me to play chess with him or play whatever. And I was like, yeah, you want to do it? Because I used to play Brisa while we were eating dinner. We got into chess, playing chess against each other over the course of the meal. And instead of waiting for the food, blah, 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 we would start up a chess while we wait for the food. And then, so I said, yeah, why don't you come over for dinner then, and we'll do that. And he agreed. And then he came, I was like, so where's the chess? And he's like, oh, yeah, we decided not to because we brought our son and our son time. So I was like, such a, it's 5-year-old son, like anything he's learning in school right now, which is nothing, you could teach him as a parent in 30 minutes a day. Words, phrases. Like, you're really not teaching them anything about it. You're playing with them. So, like, have a bedtime so that tomorrow you could go learn to play. A 5-year-old? A 5-year-old should not have a bedtime, is what I'm trying to say. But to affect your life, it's me. I'm talking out loud now because it's not me realizing. You know what? It's not so much that I say it wrong. I say I no longer have um, what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, like, before or early in the conversation, I'm talking about how I don't vibe with other people anymore. The more I become more authentic, the less in common I have with other people. And it sounds like I'm at fault. It sounds like I am to blame. There's like a judgment about me, and that I no longer have commonalities with people. But in truth is I have more commonality with nature and reality, and everyone else is clinging to shitty behaviors. And it's a shitty behavior for a parent to enforce rules on their kids, and as a result be robustly programmed to follow those rules that are just pointless rules to follow, like the idea that to always sleep at a certain time, and so as a parent I have to follow this schedule, blah, blah, blah. Really, it's the parents that are failing to understand that they are imposing rules on themselves that are separating them from humans. Like, adults don't go to sleep at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. dinner, you know? So it's like, I'm just annoyed because it's like, okay, I give it a shot in terms of, okay, you want to have companionship and you want to use games and sports to do it. You have to be willing to be flexible in order to find those companions for that sport. I'm speaking from his point of view. Like, if I'm fit for an example, I have lots of animals, feed twice a day, once in the morning, once in the early evening. But I know that they're animals and they can skip a meal, they can fast a meal, right? So if there's an ayahuasca ceremony going on someplace far, or someplace close, whatever, and typically these things can 6 hours. It can go all night into the morning, and I'm not thinking, oh, I need to get back and feed my cats and animals. I'm valuing the presence of other people. Other people have come together. I'm going to be flexible with bedtime, feeding time, whatever, of children and animals and other things in my care, right? And I'm going to prioritize that and align my actions and behavior with that idea of, okay, I want to spend time and companionship with people, then I'm going to be flexible with other life aspects. But it just irks me because there's no alignment. He's like begging me constantly, hey, let's play. Okay, come over for dinner, we'll play. And then he comes and he doesn't bring the chat to play, and I say, what's up? What? I thought you wanted to play. You were so desperate to play. Oh, my kid has bedtime. So you clearly want this, and then you prioritize your kid bedtime instead. It's a misalignment, right? You really, really want something. You've been asking me all the time. And now you wasted my time and your time. Not just your time, you wasted my time. Catering to a rule that shouldn't even really be a rule. So now, like, if you ask me again, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, like, I think you should prioritize your kid because you clearly are. And then you're trying to do other things like play chess with people. You're trying to create like a chess playing friend group, but you're still clearly prioritizing your kid. You can't do it. You can't create a chess playing group if it only happens when you want it to happen. That doesn't how it works. So now what he's done is I'm not gonna be willing to go play. I'm gonna be like, no, I know that your priority is not where it should be. Your priority is your kid, and that's fine. If you want to completely make all these rules for the kid, run with it. Don't involve me with it. Right? So yeah, I'm just another guy with no kids telling people with kids how to be. But there's people who think only NBA champions should be NBA coaches. Like people who think you have to be able to throw 70 yards in order to be a quarterback coach. Like Bill Belichick can't beat anyone on the field, but he can beat a lot of teams as a coach. So that's my perspective as well. Like I don't have kids, but I see a lot of people with kids, and I don't have kids because I don't want to raise my kids around all these people that do have kids and they're really shitty people or they're really clueless people sending their kids to school, which is nothing more than a propaganda mind poisoning machine. And people are still, their kids, they have to go to school. And they should be learning on their own at this point. They have all sorts of applications and social media platforms that are very educational. Read every book that you want and learn from the best experts from all over the world. Your hometown does not have experts in anything. We're all claimed to be experts. Anyways, my power is about to die. 5% left. My back's hurting a little bit. I'm going to stretch out. Come back in a little bit. But, if the friend is listening, it's nothing personal. I'm being honest. I think I want to be honest instead of being resentful of people because they're too sensitive to hear my honesty. But yeah, I'm sure he's like, I don't want to hang out with you that much anyways. Like, you're just the only person that speaks English. That's another thing. I think think I actually want to speak less English. I think English is a demonic, brain poisoning tool. The words themselves have fluid meanings that are used to manipulate minds and poison minds. So, talk about more.